Thank you very much.
Can you explain what you mean by that the incumbent, we cannot expect the incumbent to do the reforms so that the media especially do not misinterpret? What does you mean by that?
Well, what I meant was that if you leave it to the government, and if the government persists in pursuing their policies along the way that they've been doing all along until now, you can never expect change unless we, the young people, and the members of the public indicate to the government which way it should go. We are not opposing the government by making suggestions or proposals for the good of the country.
Your rather vocal criticism of the current government has somehow quoted unhappiness among the UMNO top brass, and as you talk about you being called to the Supreme Council and all that. So do you think the fact that you gave this speech today has actually made it worse, or what kind of response do you think they will have?
Cuma orang yang makan cili rasa pedas. Saya tak makan cili.
Do you think they will come to a point where they will ask you to leave UMNO? Because
Or they have every right to decide in any way they like. I'm only a simple person. If they ask me to leave UMNO, I have to leave UMNO. If they ask me to stay in UMNO, I will stay in UMNO happily.
Okay, tak ada apa-apa lagi?
How about the stand that your stand on royalty issues, right? Are you going to stick with that?
It's not my stand. What I did was to explain the provisions of the Petroleum Development Act. Pure and simple. And all the provisions in that law embodied the wishes of the late Tun Razak. Tun Razak wanted it done that way. And we negotiated in such a way that Parliament would approve that kind of law, and that the agreements with the states are signed to ensure that at least the poorer states would benefit from oil. As simple as all that. I have nothing to do with this. If the law remains as it is, then that is what it meant.
So you're still sticking with the...
It's not me, it's the law. Unless Parliament amends it, it's the law. It's not about me, it's not about anybody. Parliament has approved a law, and the state governments have signed the agreements under that law with Petronas, and Petronas has to honor it.
So what do you think that Petronas should do? I mean, Petronas' next move, in your wise suggestion?
To follow the law.
Can you tell us what is IDEA's immediate plan and the research that needs to be undertaken immediately?
Yes, we have plans to conduct workshops for political parties across Malaysia. We are planning to do at least 9 workshops at the moment with adun dan bakal-bakal adun mengenai the nature and the reality of state-federal relationship according to the Constitution. We are now building the content of that module, and I have been talking just over the last week with a representative from UMNO, from MCA, from Gerakan, PKR dan juga PAS. So we will bring it to the state level, and we will be talking to them about what their rights are according to the Constitution. So that is one. The next one is, in terms of research, we have a few research projects planned. The biggest one and the more long-term one is a study on schools, on how to transform our school system. We are going to look into the models of how schools are being run in other countries, like in the US, in Sweden, in the UK, and see how we can use the so-called market-based ideas to improve schools in Malaysia. So those are just two of the projects. There are quite a few more. And in fact, if I can probably mention now, in the last week of February, we are sponsoring the publication of an international index, International Property Rights Index, which is a global study on the how good or how bad property rights are respected in I think about 90 different countries. We'll be launching that report towards the end of February, and Malaysia is one of the countries.
See, those are commendable propositions, you know. They're not opposing the government or pro the opposition parties. They just make it more aware, bringing the young from the schools to know what the Constitution is all about.
Will you have input on the state federal workshop? Because I understand this is a topic that you also feel quite strongly about.
Yes, I feel that there should be better relations between the states and between the state and the federal government. At the moment, there's too much concentration of power in the center, which I think is not healthy. It's not healthy.
Do you think that our government is too powerful for its own good and some powers should be decentralized?
Well, I don't think the government is too powerful. That's why they don't have enough numbers to form a federal government at the center without the help of the Sabah and Sarawak MPs. They're not that too powerful, but they're flexing their muscles using the existing powers that they have, which sometimes people think are draconian in nature and authoritarianism in the manner it dispenses law. So I think if they establish a better relations with the states, for instance, in the case of oil, for example, then I think they'll be highly regarded. It's a question of credibility, you know, question of credibility, question of public confidence. Why do people talk about it now? Because probably people don't have much confidence. People never raised this subject matter previously. Why? Because they have confidence. Just like our ringgit today. Nobody questioned about the value of the ringgit because people still have confidence in the ringgit. But the minute they start questioning about the ringgit, then we are going to have problems because people are losing confidence in the ringgit.
What is your concern about the future if the government doesn't heed what the people want and if they continue on track?
My concern is because as a member of UMNO will be booted out of power. That's my concern. And I don't want UMNO to lose power.
For the country in general?
Well, if UMNO that has ruled this country since 1955 loses power, then you will see that there'll be a change of policies, change of style of government, and that may not please quite a big portion of the people, but there again it depends on the will of the people. If the people wants change, there's nothing anybody can do.